Hi friends, as you know, the IPL auction is around the corner, and in a couple of weeks' time, we would see some exciting young and seasoned campaigners going under the hammer for different franchises. And today, I am looking at one such franchisee, which is KKR, and I am doing the mock auction for them. So, as per my understanding, I am looking at how the squad composition is about and what they need and what they currently have. So the auction process starts with how the list of retaining players, how they fare in the 11 for them. So currently we have Venkatesh Iyer, which is a left-handed opening batsman, and he bowls a right arm medium pace. But still, it is early days for him, and he's still very young and very new as compared to how IPL is going about, and he's only has just a half a season success as of now. So it would be very interesting to see that KKR have placed their bets on him and how he goes about his things. But yes, he looks promising and an exciting talent. And again, we have Andre Russell, with whom KKR has entrusted his responsibilities and duties over the years from now on. And he's a dasher, he's explosive. But the only thing is he's injury prone. But there's one more thing apart from that. Apart from his injuries, he wasn't as consistent last year as he would have liked or as KKR would have expected from him. So, and the other thing is like being an all-rounder, he's not a four-over surety for his team, and he's currently overloaded with the bulk of six hitting for his franchise. So that is something that is overburdening him and letting down the team as well, and also creating a tremendous amount of pressure on him as well. So KKR would need someone to couple him up or complement him in the upcoming auction. So next up we have Sunil Narayan in retentions. So Sunil Narayan is again a mystery bowler for them and has had success with the franchise, and the franchisee has also experienced a lot of good achievements with Sunil Narayan. Like he has been a very handy pinch hitter for them, and has given them quality breakthroughs and has been very economical. But off late, after his action has been remodeled, he hasn't been effective in terms of the wickets. So, and in terms of his batting, there is an obvious weakness about his batting when it comes to him facing the short pitched fast bowling. So that is why he wasn't sent out as a opener or top the order for KKR last year, because every team was exposing this and they were getting the better of him last year. So they would want someone to cover the void that Sunil Naran has in terms of batting. But yes, he's still a quality bowler and is valuable to the franchise. And the fourth one in the retention list is Varun Chakravarthi, who was a very good, consistent performer for the KKR last time, and also got to play for India at the World Cup as well. Couldn't get into the wickets, but he was effective and he was economical as well at his part. And so it would be very interesting on how he plays and his role at the franchisee would be in this year and the years to come from. So now we have some exciting picks from the auction for the KKR franchise. So first things, they are looking for a captain. Second thing, they are looking for a wicket keeper, and there are a lot of things that are missing in this chock block right now. So I'll quickly highlight as per me what the KKR family or the KKR franchisee needs right now. So the first one would be, I would probably place my bets on Ishan Kishan. Ishan Kishan is young, exciting. He's left-handed, and he's a wicket-keeper batsman. So, being a wicket-keeper batsman, he is having like he has the best seat in the business right now. Like, the wicket-keeper batsman is the best judge of what field placing could could be, and he could be a very good decision maker as well for the team. So, and also he's led his state teams and the under 19s as well at when he was leading India in the under 19 World Cup. So I would probably have him in my thoughts, and like I would be more keen to enroll him for the KKR, and since he could be a long-term prospect as well, and he would be a captaincy prospect in my opinion as well. So I would want Ishan Kishan in my scheme of things right now. And second one probably in my list would be Liam Livingstone. So Liam Livingstone is dynamic. He's explosive. He's someone who is tonged the ball all around, and he's going hammer and tongs at every league. So he can bat anywhere at the in your seven. He can fit in easily. He bowls some handy off spin to the left-handers and some quality fast leg spinners to the right-handers. So he's very effective in his own right, and it would just ease the pressure on Russell for six hitting. If Livingstone has a good season, then KKR has a very good season in its own right, because he and Russell could go and make the ball talk and make the bat talk. So they can be a very high scoring partnerships as well. There would be very high scoring games, and Livingstone and Russell could finish games easily. So this partnership could very well benefit the KKR team now. Third one would be, this would be an interesting call because I would want Steve Smith to be in my scheme of things for KKR, because I want Steve Smith because he has a good head on his shoulders. So he's someone who's very calm, and he's someone who is an accumulator. So he can drop the anchor, and the team could bat along with him, and he could lead the side. We have Brendan McCullum as the coach, and his thought process would somehow coincide with how Steve Smith wants, and the team could go in a certain direction that the coach wants and the franchisee wants. So he would be again my pick, because there won't be a lot of teams that could easily fit in Steve Smith right now. Maybe Punjab Kings could, maybe, I don't know. Like, there are not a lot of teams that would easily be able to fit in Steve Smith in their scheme of things. Like, he was in Delhi Capitals last year, but was mostly sitting at the bench. So there's no point of Steve Smith on the bench. I would have Steve Smith in my 11, and probably leading the team and grooming a new captain under him. So I would want him in my team. And next up, I would be dicey between having Nitish Rana and Rahul Tripathi. Both of these batsmen had excelled very well last year and a couple of years as well. Like, I was happy with the performances of both. Tripathi obviously won a lot of games single-handedly, and Nitish Rana, obviously he's a left-hander and very dynamic in his approach as well, and had a good domestic season as well of late. So looking forward, I would want to have at least one of them back in the mix. They know how the KKR franchisee works, and they have this connect with the team as well. So I would definitely want one of them to be back with us. So next up, I would have a wicket keeper batsman again. Like, Ishan Kishan might be very costly to go after, and a lot of teams would want Ishan Kishan in their ranks. So I would have maybe Nicholas Puran would be my bet. He's someone who is having this West Indian flair with him, and he can go about his things easily. He wants, like, in the Punjab Kings playing 11, he wasn't fixed with his role, and his thought process was somehow dicey, what I felt. But maybe with this franchise and with the KKR think tank that we have right now, Nicholas Puran could do himself a world of good as well, and he's certainly a leadership prospect for the West Indies in the future, and may very well be a good learning curve for him from the KKR itself. So Nicholas Puran would be one of the key uh, acquisitions for me at this auction. And like, we already have Russell and Narayan, so this Nicholas Puran would add to this West Indian flair that KKR has, and we have a TKR connect as well, so it could work very well for the team. And next up, I would have a very interesting pick, which would be Alex Hales. A lot of questions would be raised why Alex Hales, and since he's not in the scheme of things for England as well, but Alex Hales has done really well. If I talk about his BBL, if I talk about his PSL, if I talk about his T10, he's done very well. and not a lot of teams would be wanting to bid for him. And he's available for the entire season, so Alex Hales would be a very good buy for me, and perhaps a bargain buy or a steal as well. So Alex Hales would definitely be one of my picks. And similar to Alex Hales, I would have a finisher who is also gun fielder and an excellent batsman. He was doing very well for the Kings 11 Punjab then, and off late he hasn't got the opportunity to fit in the 11. But David Miller would be another name in my wish list or in my pick list. So I would want David Miller to be in my team so that I do not have to depend solely on Russell to finish games. He could easily bat at 5 or 6 and finish games for KKR. So I would have David Miller in my scheme of things. Next up, I have some interesting Indian batsmen whom I would definitely want at least one of them or two, if not all three. But I would want either of Deepak Hooda, Mandeep Singh, and or Karun Nair. Karun Nair was last year, like he was with us a couple of seasons, but he couldn't get a game time. But I would want either of these three, or at least two of these three, in my scheme of things. Mandeep has been quality, and he also hasn't been given a consistent run in the 11 for whichever franchise he's played with. And similar to Deepak, Huda has also played very well for whatever role he has been given, but also he has not been given a consistent run. And Karun as well. So all three of these young Indian batsmen or Indian batsmen would give me quality. I would want at least two of them or one of them in my squad. And again, next up, I have a very interesting choice, which would be Priyank Panchal. He's this good, ethically correct batsman from Gujarat who has done really well off late in the domestic and India setup. And somehow I have this feeling that he could do what Rituraj has been doing for CSK. So I would have Priyank Panchal, not directly bidding for him, but maybe in the fast process or the accelerated process. I would definitely want to acquire his services so that I could see the metal. Like he was in the India setup as well for this test series with South Africa, but he couldn't get a game. But I somehow feel that he could do what Rituraj has done for CSK. So Priyank Panchal would be definitely my pick. Now moving ahead, we have someone who's done really well at the domestic level. He had a very good domestic, Saeed Mushtaq Ali as well, and Vijay Zare as well. He's leading his state team, and he's had a very good couple of seasons at the initial level with Punjab Kings or Kings 11 Punjab. Then he's Manan Vora. He's leading his state team as well, and he's had a fantastic season this year as a batsman. He's an opener. He's a young Indian batsman. He's a good prospect. He likes to take the innings head on. So he's someone who can give you that X factor right at the top. Like if you're looking for a young Indian batsman whom a lot of people might not have a radar on, so Manan would be definitely, like, he's right in the mix of things for me. If I want to finalize a player, an opener who has had a good domestic season, but a lot of teams would want to go after him. So he would be one of my picks, and that I would like to place my bets on. And next I have, again, this would be slightly dicey in terms of how people would perceive it, but this is my call, and I would want Shivam Dubey in my scheme of things. Shivam Dubey is again a good Indian talent, an all-rounder who bowls right arm medium pace. He's decent with the ball. He's decent with the bat. And off late he has had a couple of innings that have gone like towards his that have gone excellently for him, and the flow was fantastic. He was timing it, he was smashing it all over the ground, and he was finishing games for his domestic side, and he finished a couple of games for RR as well. But again, he hasn't been given a consistent run in any of the franchise. He was with RCB, he was with RR. They weren't picking him in the 11, and it wasn't the justice that he could have got had the trust been shown. So Shivam Dubey perhaps could find a franchise, and with Bharat Tarun in as the head coach, he could just give him the direction that he needs as a bowler. So maybe KKR could benefit a lot from Shivam Dube, the all-rounder. Like, he could easily throw in a couple of overs with Venkatesh and 4 overs are done. So in no time we can finish up 4 overs with these two guys in the 11. So, and next up, I have two young, two like not young directly, to be precise. So these would be two off spinning all-rounders, Indian all-rounders that I have. One of them is Washington Sundar and the other one is Jayant Yadav. So I would want either of them to be in my squad. So they give me very good quality. If I talk about quality, they give me good overs in the power play, and these they can give me effective runs with the bat as well. So I would want either of them in my squad. Next up, I have a few interesting Afghan spinners up my sleeve. Uh, Mujib isn't there. I haven't zeroed in on Mujib simply because he has been with the franchises for a long time, and a lot of franchises are keenly looking at Mujib, and he could start a bidding war. But I have interesting ones like KS Ahmed would be one of them. Noor Ahmed, the young left-arm spinner who is doing well at the Under-19 World Cup right now, and Zahir Khan Pakhtun. So these would be some quality spinners that could add variety to my attack and could be a backup for Narayan as well. If Narayan doesn't pick wickets, or if he's injured midway, I would want to have a quality spinner up my sleeve who could simply be drafted in as a replacement directly. So either of these three would be very good for me. And similarly, I have a couple of backups for my wicket keepers. So one of them is Sam Billings. Sam Billings had a very good BBL this time. He's had a very good run with the England team as well. He had a very good T20 vitality blast. He's doing well all across the leagues, but he hasn't been playing in the IPL of late. But he has performed the role of a finisher, and he can bat at the top as well. He finished games for CSK. I remember one of these games was with the KKR itself. But yeah, he's doing well. And the other one was Rahmanullah Gurbaz. So he's this young, interesting wicketkeeper from Afghanistan who is doing really well at the short format. He's smashing the ball all over. Both of these batsmen are equally good against pace and spin. They like to take the bowling head on. They go hammer on tongs from ball one, and they're very good in the field as well. Like, they're electric wicket keepers, smashing, and they're very good. So I would definitely look at one of them if I do not get either of Ishan or Puran. So I would want one of them to finish up these rules. So next up, I have the backup of these in the Indian form. So I would have some Indian wicket keepers as my backup options. So KS Bharat would be one, and Jagdishan would be my second choice. Both of them had a very good domestic season. Bharat, of course, RCB would be keen to get him back, but I like Jagdishan would be one. Vishnu Vinod would be another wicketkeeper up my sleeve. So these would be my backup wicketkeepers from the Indian domestic circuit. And like, I also have a couple of traits that I want to target at. So one of them is leg spin, and I want to target leg spin with Mayank Markande. Mayank Markande had a dream debut with Mumbai Indians. He had a dream debut season, but next season he was overshadowed by Rahul Chahar, and a lot of teams would be looking at leg spinners right now. So currently, the only leg spinner that is retained is Rashid Khan by the Ahmedabad franchise, and there are a lot of quality leg spinners who could rage a bidding war in this auction room. So Rahul Jair would be one, Rahul Tewatia would be one, Yuzvendra Chahal, Shreyas Gopal. So these are four leg spinners, Indian leg spinners, who have been doing really well of late for their franchises, and a lot of them would be fetching big bucks. And Mayank Markande would be my pick because he has been doing really well consistently at the domestic level as well. Of late, he has not been given the opportunity to play in the 11 for his franchise at the IPL level, but he will do well given the exposure that we have and the skill set of bowlers that we have right now, or that we are trying to target at. So he would be in my scheme of things. Next up, I have a few of these left arm spinning all rounders from the Indian domestic circuit again, and I would want either of them or one of them, at least one of them, in my scheme of things or in my squad. So Abhishek Sharma, J Sujit, and Mayank Dagar. I know a lot of these people of a lot of people have, might not have heard of Mayank Dagar, but Mayank Dagar is an electric fielder. He's a gun fielder. Like he's passed the yo-yo test, and his yo-yo test results are right at the top if I talk about the Indian team as well. So he's I think he's exceeded Virat Kohli's results as well. So I would have Mayank Dagar in my squad because not only he is adding value in terms of his bowling and batting, but he can be very easily be in the field at any point of time and change the dimension of the game. Similarly, Abhishek Sharma has been doing well for Punjab of late at the domestic level. In the Vijay area or in the Shahid Mushtaq Ali, he was doing very well, and he can bowl a couple of overs of good handy left arm spin as well. And all these three names like Dagar, Abhishek Sharma, and Suchit, they are very mizy with the ball. They do not give away runs easily. So I would want one of them, at least one of them, in my squad. And next up, I would go hammer and tongs in my budget or in my auction room for either one of these bowlers. Like I would want either Deepak Chahar, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Mohammad Shami, or Sandeep Sharma. These are swing bowlers who could give me wickets up front. I would want any one of them to be in my team. And similarly, simply because I have Bharat Arun with me, Bharat Arun could easily mentor, even if you are talking about Bhuvneshwar Kumar, who has been slightly off color right now, but he along with Bharat Arun could make wonders for the team. Wickets at the start, wickets at the end, death overs. These bowlers are someone who I would count on. And similarly, I felt a couple of traits missing from my team or from the KKR squad of late from the previous seasons, and one of them was left arm medium pace. So in terms of left arm medium pace, I would look at maybe Natarajan, Khalil Ahmed, and Chetan Sakaria for once. Uh, all these three have played the India, they have played at the India level. They have done well in their own right or in the limited opportunities that they have been given, but they haven't been given a very good run. So I'm looking at how this thing would work. So I would want Natarajan, Khalil, or Sakaria, and I would want Lockie Ferguson back simply because he has been very good for me. I would want him back. So I would want to welcome Lockie with open arms, and I would want someone to accompany him, and maybe Mark Wood or Adam Milne or Billy Stanley. These three are out and out raw pace, so they could win you matches on any given day. And I would want either of them, or at least one of them, to accompany Lockie Ferguson, even if he gets injured midway. I would want one of them to be a backup of Lockie at least. And I would want someone from my TKR Connect as well. Like I would want Ali Khan. I have a soft corner for him. I want Ali Khan in my ranks. Ali Khan has been doing well for the TKR franchise of late, and he's done well at the T10 level as well. I do not think a lot of people would want to bid for him, but yeah, he's a steal for me. He's been with the team. He's been with the Knight Riders of late. He was with us, but unfortunately got injured, and couldn't get a game. But I would want Ali Khan with me. And if I talk about raw pace, if for any reason I miss any of Ferguson, Mark Wood, Milne, or Billy Stanley, I would turn to maybe Navdeep Saini, Umesh Yadav, or Varun Aaron. They might not be economical, I know, but these are raw pace, and I seriously want to have the option of throwing raw pace at the opposition of late. So I would want to have any of these three because an Indian bowler with raw pace is rare, and I would want to have them in my ranks, right? And similarly, I want to have couple of left arm seamers from the overseas conditions. So I would want to have Odion Smith, Sheldon Cottrell, and maybe Marco Jensen. So any one of these left arm seamers could give me good wickets at the start and We know a couple of franchises have a couple of key players who are not good at left arm seam up front. So this would be a good battle, and I would want to have good left arm seamers in my attack this time. And now I have a couple of interesting buys or a couple of interesting backups. And if I talk about backups, it is purely because I have made my first choices very clear. The backups would be Manas Labuschagne, James Vince, and Aiden Markham. Manas Labuschagne has been scoring runs all over the world. He's literally scoring runs like fun, and he's an accumulator. He could provide the much needed stability that I would want in my KKR lineup. So I would want Labuschagne to be in my team. Somehow he's very young. And he's very interesting in his own right. He's animated. He's a character itself. So I would want Labuschagne to be here. He's scoring runs everywhere. I want him to score runs for KKR too. And similarly, Vince had a very good season BBL and off late, but not I wasn't following Vince this time, but I like Vince. I like him when he plays for England. I like him when he plays for his county. So I like Vince. He could bat at 3 and take the innings deep, and the whole team could bat around him. And similarly, Markram. A lot of people would again raise questions with Markram, but Markram is very good leader. He's a very silent and a very good leader, and he could come in at 3. He could play a sheet anchor role. He could take the bowler head on, and he could give me a couple of overs of off spin as well, right at the top. Maybe one over, but if he gives me a wicket or two, he troubled KL Rahul in this recently conducted India South Africa series. So I would want someone who could just roll his sleeve up and bowl a couple of overs right now for me. So I would have him, or either of these three, either of Markram, Labuschagne, or James Vince. And now I have a couple of young, interesting players from under 19. Like I would want Hunger Kekar for me, and I would want to couple him up with Karthik Tyagi. Tyagi, a lot of people would again say, but Tyagi was with the Indian squad, which did well and which won down under the captaincy of Ajinkya Rahane, and the first match was Virat Kohli. So he was with the squad. He knows how the squad works, and he knows how it feels to be at the top. He won a very improbable last over match for RR last year against the Punjab Kings. So he has had a very good fair amount of success with him. So I would want to have him simply because he has that knack of turning matches on his head. So, and our bowling coach could again do wonders with these set of people, or these group of young kids that we could have on block. And similarly, I would want to have one of these left arm spinners also with me. One of them is M Siddharth, other one is Sai Kishore, and the third one is Shahbaz Nadeem. These left arm spinners, all these three like to keep it tight, and they have been performing well consistently in the domestic level. Sai Kishore was with the CSK franchise off late and couldn't get a game. M Siddharth was with us, as well as he was with the Delhi Capitals as well, but he couldn't get a game as well. And Shahbaz Nadeem, off late, he hasn't been given a good run in his franchise. He was with SRH, I believe. So these spinners like to keep this thing tight. So I would want to have one of them with me, and they have been proven, like they are proven at the domestic level as well. So I would want to have them. And again, I would like to have a couple of left arm seamers from the Indian domestic circuit. One of them is Tanveerul Haq, and then there's Arzan Nagwaswala, and the third one is Aniket Chaudhary. So these left arm bowlers have been in and around the Indian circuit. These three bowlers have been net bowlers or backup bowlers, or they've been with the team when the team is touring abroad. So I would want them to be in my think tank, or in my arsenal, so that we have a match ready asset, or someone who could be a horses for courses kind of scenario, and I could draft in a left arm seam attack and again, this would be one thing. And again, moving forward, I would have again a left arm backup option for me. These are two good quicks from the UK or from the England team. One of them is George Garton, and the other one is Reece Topley. So these two left arm quicks have been doing well at their county level and at the in England opportunity, whatever they have been given, and they have been doing well. I would be slightly inclined towards Garton because he gives me an advantage with the batting as well. And with Sam Curran not available, maybe a lot of other franchises would look at him if they've seen him closely. But I would want to have Garton. So summing up quickly, I would want to have a lot of things covered up. Left arm seam would be one thing that I would want to cover. Leg spin would be one thing that I would want to cover. Maybe someone who could play the anchor's role and wicket keeper's role. I would have a couple of good wicket keeping options. I didn't choose Quinton de Kock for my own reasons, simply because he's foreigner and I want to cover all my overseas slots, because I wouldn't want to keep de Kock out of the 11. So I would want probably I would want to go all guns blazing for Ishan Kishan right now at the auction. So it solely depends at what number Ishan Kishan comes in at the auction table and how many teams are ready with the purse that they have for Ishan Kishan. But yeah, he would be one of my picks and one of my prime picks for this auction for the KKR, because he gives me three bases covered, and one of them would certainly be the Indian left-handed opener wicketkeeper batsman. May not be the captaincy right now, but you never know. I would want to give him the captaincy early stages because he's someone who could drive the team accordingly, and the team could go in a certain direction if we have a young captain right now. Because I wouldn't want to replace the captain after 3 years from now. So maybe this squad could do it for us what we've been trying to do from 2014. So let's keep our fingers crossed and let's see how this auction goes around for us. So go for it, KKR. Let's do it this time.